Oh, God. Okay. Okay. I'm just looking at this, and it's like she is like 45 degrees away from a Sonny Bono.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the line as he does every week on the show, it is one Mike Reyes from Cinemablend. And just to bring you up to speed on what you just heard, I don't know how we got into the conversation, but we started talking about catapults and slingshots and stuff. And there is a video that is about 17 years old on YouTube. They essentially make a human slingshot with a four-wheeler and bungee cords and all that. And Mike just watched it.
Yes, I did. I cannot say I'm a lesser man for having done so.
Would you try it, though?
I would rather try the one that's in the cage, because at least if that thing becomes unhinged or like gets off the line, at least you're covered by something. But I can't totally say no, but I can't totally say yes.
My younger self would try that in a heartbeat. We did so many stupid things like that growing up that would have been like, yeah, strap me in. Let's do this.
Oh, yeah. Shoot me up, Uncle Alfred.
Friends, we're back for another week of chatting about the world of entertainment, movies, and everything in between. Mike, it's kind of one of those weird weeks where we don't have, like, we've got like one sort of big movie coming out. And then we're kind of on the eve of like 3 or 4 real big movies coming out for the Thanksgiving holiday, correct?
Oh, correct. It is a weird week indeed.
Correctamundo. Cowabunga it is.
But yeah, it is weird because, you know, in between things like John Wick having its 10th anniversary re-release into theaters through Fathom Events, we have the big movie of the week is Heretic, which is a religious-themed horror film. Not a faith-based horror film, but it's like basically 2 young women who are going door to door as, like, I think they're Church of Latter-day Saints members. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But they're basically 2 young women who are going to spread the word. And they stumble upon a house with a man played by Hugh Grant that apparently is one of the most chilling things you'll see on screen, because he's apparently really, really good menacing someone that isn't Paddington Bear. And I would believe it because I love Hugh Grant. And like the moment these trailers landed, I was ready. It's like, please give me this. I want to see Hugh Grant get really... It looks like he's getting creepy, but the thing is, it's not leering creepy. And it's not, I am a total madman that has no scruples and is just doing this for no reason creepy. His sort of villainy in this is very methodical and almost adjacent to Jigsaw, where he's like, look, I'm going to give you a chance. And he's like, the 2 doors, faith or belief or non-belief, I think are the 2 doors. But it's basically, that's the choice. He's like, I'm going to let you ladies go on what I think is a drug trip. And basically, you decide for yourselves. You do what you got to survive.
You don't immediately think horror suspense with Hugh Grant, right?
Not immediately, no. But the man has been making so many inroads to doing anything he damn well wants over the past few years. Like it's not just a recent thing. Most people, for younger audiences, they may not realize that Hugh Grant was a big rom-com presence when he hit.
Yeah.
Like, of course, he did, like, The Remains of the Day. He did for an original or an earlier version of Sense and Sensibility. I think he was in a Pride and Prejudice somewhere along the way. No, I think it was just Sense and Sensibility. But the moment he did 4 Weddings and a Funeral in 1994, that was, like, rom-com gold. That was one of the big ones of the 90s. And then that put him on the path where it was like, he was in 9 Months. He was in Mickey Blue Eyes. He was in Notting Hill. He's in Bridget Jones's Diary. And I would say, looking at his filmography, About a Boy in 2002 was where he really started to turn towards offbeat and off the beaten path sort of roles, because he still did rom-coms after that. But not a shameless plug. You want to talk about an overdue rental? The movie American Dreams is something that definitely comes to mind, because it is very early, it is very mid-aughts, and he plays like a Simon Cowell substitute, and he's just perfect at it.
Okay.
And then just looking through other movies here, he was in Cloud Atlas, obviously. He was in Man from U.N.C.L.E., Paddington 2. Like he's just built up a great credit of working with people that he likes. And when I got to talk to him earlier in the year for Unfrosted, we had a conversation about how you can tell when a director understands the humor and is in on the gag. And he loves that, and he singled out Guy Ritchie as one of those people where he is on that man's wavelength, and he gets it. I love seeing this phase in his career.
Oh, so what are you hearing about Heretic?
I'm hearing Heretic is really good. It's so far, it's at like, I think a 94 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, wow.
It's at a 94 on Rotten Tomatoes with 121 reviews. So we're in like certified fresh territory. And Hugh Grant is one of the obviously one of the standouts. And they're also saying that the critic consensus here says Hugh Grant has infectious fun playing against type in Heretic, a religious horror that preaches the gospel of cerebral chills over cheap shocks. And that is what I want. That is what I like. And that's definitely an A24 movie. Although from my understanding, this was more of one they acquired than one that they produced. But A24 still knows how to pick them when it comes to that. And I need to see this as soon as possible, because just as a Hugh Grant fan, I want to see him get into horror. And it's just like Paul Giamatti is a huge horror fan, and he's starting to do more horror projects after doing that red carpet interview where he's like, I want to do a horror movie. And now he's going to be in Eli Roth's Hostel series.
Oh,
and
God.
He's got all this other stuff that I am excited for that, because somehow Eli Roth and Paul Giamatti are going to work together, and that is fine by me.
I don't know why, but in my head with Paul Giamatti, I pictured like revisiting Deliverance for some reason.
I mean, that does sound more like the type of movie that most people would expect, but at the same time, you need to give him a creature movie.
Yeah.
We need to give Paul Giamatti a creature movie, because he loves his makeup effects, and I think we talked about this in an earlier show. When he was cast in Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes, his agents were like, "Are you sure you don't want to play a human?" He's like, "Look, if I don't get to play an ape, I'm gonna f***ing kill you."
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend joining me on the line to talk about the world of movies. So Heretic out this weekend. It looks fantastic on many fronts. You saw one of the other ones that's coming out this movie. It's a little bit more indie, though, if I remember right.
Yes. Meanwhile on Earth, which is an independent film. It's a French film, so I think it's independent because it was imported, and it is a science fiction movie where a young woman by Elsa, played by feature film newcomer Megan Northam, she is grieving over the loss of her brother Frank. He is an astronaut, and he vanished. Did not come home during his mission.
Vanished?
And some strange things he vanished during his mission, and then strange things start to happen.
I don't know. I'm sorry. Go to the John.
That's okay. You had to have fun.
Oh, all right. So is this good?
It's good. First of all, Jeremy Clapin is the writer-director, and he has an animation background.
Okay.
Which is very interesting, because this is his first from what I understand, his first live-action directing gig. And once again, I love when an animation director can jump over into live action and just totally get it right. Because the same thing happened with Brad Bird, where he went and did Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol after doing years of like Incredibles movies and Iron Giant, and I enjoy that. It is the best way I can describe this, because I don't want to give away too much. I went in as cold as possible. It's a lo-fi science fiction movie.
Okay.
This isn't giant spaceships invading. This isn't like laser fire. Like, this is very much, it's indie in the sense that it's a science fiction concept that's identifiable, and there's like it's very accented with the spectacle that it throws in, including some animated daydreams of Elsa thinking about her brother, and like how they used to pretend to be superheroes that would fly with like jetpacks on alien planets. And it's a very interesting film about grief and what we do in its wake.
Okay.
And it also, I without actually asking the question, there's a question that people always put out there, or there's a saying that people always put out there when someone dies. And this movie kind of, in its own sci-fi way, says, well, what if that wasn't true? What if you could do that thing that you can't do? And how far would you go?
So it's thinky.
It's thinky, but it isn't. There is a. It's thinky, but the thing is, there is a random, well, not random scene, but just it's random because you're not really expecting it. There is a moment where a man gets a chainsaw to his midsection.
Come on.
The dongus.
Come on.
But
no.
you don't really see it. You don't see it.
But you feel it. You feel it.
Kind of, yeah, but it's like, it's not. That's part of the reason I'm like okay with this movie, because while it's definitely a fantastic debut for both Megan Northam and for Jeremy Clapin as, star and director respectively, but it feels a little too shaggy for me. Like there's not enough drive or narrative. Like there is a ticking clock in this movie, but it shows up towards the end.
Okay.
And then the moral implications show up at that same time. And all throughout, we're seeing this sort of play out. And it's a compelling and interesting story. I just would have liked a little more gas with like, okay, we need to get this done in a certain amount of time, and the clock is ticking instead of like that coming in later on when we're already sort of settled in.
Okay. All right. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend on the line with me as we talk about the world of movies. There's some other kind of movies coming out this weekend, not huge ones, but we're kind of on the edge of like three big ones with Wicked, Gladiator 2, and Red 1 here in the next week or three, right?
Yes. Next week will be Red 1 because that comes out on the 15th. And then on the 22nd, you've got Gladiator 2 and Wicked 2, both dropping. And all three films have screened for critics. I've seen Red 1, and I have not seen Wicked 2 or Wicked or Gladiator 2. Wicked Part 2's next year. But we're recording on Thursday. I'm going to see Gladiator 2 tonight.
Oh, cool.
Unless circumstances get in the way. So we'll be able to talk about that real soon.
Awesome. So we'll be paying attention to that here over the coming weeks or so, because I have thoughts about Red 1, and I saw your TikTok about it. I don't want to spoil too much and get into the review now, but I have questions, we'll say. So.
Oh, I am interested in these questions, and I really can't wait to talk about that one, because we do have a review up on cinemablend.com, and through my social media profiles at Mr. Controversy 83, you can see videos of what I thought, because I put up TikToks. I put up a video on TikTok and Instagram, and then just a tweet on Twitter. But yeah, like there's thoughts out there. We can get more into it next week. But I'm hoping people find that one. But we'll talk about that next week.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend on the line with me right now as we talk about the world of movies. Over in the world of movie news, did much happen this week? And I don't want to get into election and politics stuff, but that's been kind of the only story out this week. Entertainment news hasn't been at the forefront of anything. So I have legitimately no idea if there's been movie news this week.
It has been a week, and that is about all I need to say there. Although it's really interesting that the head of Warner Brothers Discovery, David Zaslav, saw the Trump election results and thought, oh, this is a good opportunity to do more consolidation in the business. And people are wondering, well, does that mean we're going to see more mergers and more businesses? Like, are we going to have another Disney Fox scenario where big companies, like, is Universal going to buy Warner Brothers? Is Paramount going to buy Warner Brothers?
Yeah.
Like, that, are we going to see a lot of that tomfoolery in the future? And then that's funny, because that's also coming out around the time that we're seeing all these, a whole bunch of people talking about Joker still. You've got comedian Tim Dillon, who played a guard in Joker 2. So he goes on the Joe Rogan podcast and says the following, quote, "It's the worst film that's ever been made. It's not actually so bad. It's the worst film ever made. I think what happened after the first Joker, there was a lot of talk like, oh, this was loved by incels. This was loved by the wrong kinds of people. This sends the wrong kind of message. Male rage, nihilism, all these think pieces. And then I think, what if we went the other way? And now they have Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga tap dancing to a point where it's insane. And then goes on to say it has no plot. It has no plot. We would sit there, me and these other guys were dressed in security outfits because we're working at Arkham Asylum. And I'd turn to one of them when we hear this crap, and I'd go, what the is this? And they'd go, this is going to bomb, man. I go, this is the worst thing I've ever. We're talking about it at lunch, and we go, what is the plot? Is there a plot? I don't know. I think he falls in love with her in prison. It's not even hate watchable. That's how terrible it is.
Who was that again?
And I have to say, that was Matt Dillon. Tim Dillon. Tim Dillon. Matt Dillon had nothing to do with Joker, but Tim Dillon is a comic and podcaster who was on Rogan recently.
Yeah.
In the movie as an Arkham guard. So they were all talking on the set about how this was going to be a bomb. And I don't know about that. It's not even hate watchable, because I will say, in prepping to write about Folie Deux, I went back to Joker 1 because I hate that movie. I went back to it, and like, save for the Murray Franklin scene, I hate that movie. And I watched it twice because it's like, I don't get it. Why is this so impenetrable to me? Like, why, like, and especially because it's on Max now. So it's like, okay, I can throw it on in the background and I can actually do work while part of my brain is, my whole brain isn't decaying. It's just a part of my brain that's getting punished. And it's like, why is this not, and it's just, it is such an enigma of a damn movie. And I honestly say, I probably at least once more, I will watch Folie Deux. I wish I saw it in 40X because I wanted to see not only if it was going to be a bad 40X experience, because that does not feel like a movie you put moving chairs and water effects into.
Yeah.
But I wanted to know if the most depressing sex scene in history was done in 40X, because there's that scene where it's Joker and Harley, and just, it is like, just, I know it's supposed to be depressing, but
Mike Reyes, everybody.
I'm going to have to watch it again, because I still just need to pick out the little memes that I can make from it, and I need to make some sort of sense of this.
I don't have any desire to see that movie at all. Like, none. I don't know.
If you want to watch something, watch the honest trailers that went up for it, because I haven't watched an honest trailer in years. I kind of got tired of them.
Yeah.
But the way that they talk about Joker 2 is beautiful, because when they mention the Murray Hamilton shooting from the first movie, they're like, after Arthur Fleck did what most guests on Fallon would want to do, and then it shows him shooting Robert De Niro. And it's like, wow, you pulled no punches on that one, my friend.
That's funny.
I'd like to buy you a beer.
Oh, that's funny. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend on the line with me. We had a Joker conversation in the building the other day, and it was because someone in our building really loves Suicide Squad and really loves that version of the Joker. And,
wait. Suicide Squad or The Suicide Squad?
The first one with Jared Leto.
Oh, okay. Which, you know what? I can't totally, but I mean, I can say that the alleged behavior on set I wasn't a fan of, but I can't say I hate Jared Leto's Joker totally, especially after watching him in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it's like, I would have loved to have seen what he would have done with the character.
See, the Justice League version I didn't mind. That little quick scene at the end with him, that I didn't mind.
Was wonderful.
The Suicide Squad version of it, it's like, oh, God. That I did not like.
# damaged.
Yeah. So, anyways.
Again, that's another movie that I want to see the uncut version of, because just like they had the Snyder cut of Justice League, there's the air cut of Suicide Squad. And that's another one where you literally go and watch the compilations of trailers that they made for this movie, and you see everything literally brightening up in the color palette and like changing the way that the movie is being marketed.
Yeah.
Like, that is a trip if you ever watch one of those reels, because a lot of people like to take all the trailers from like all the trailers from the new Star Wars, like all the teaser trailers. That was a wonderful reel because I liked watching all of the teasers for each of the newer movies, and it's like I remember how I felt when those were coming up.
I remember we walked out of the first Suicide Squad, and my wife and I were both like, I don't know what we just watched, and I don't know how I feel about it.
So what did your friend have to say? Because you had that Joker conversation.
They just said they really liked that version of the Joker, and I just did not. Other than the Snyder Cut Justice League version of it, I thought that was a great interaction between Bruce and the Joker. Like, I didn't mind that part. That was the kind of the extent of it. And then we went off and did more radio stuff. So
I also just miss Ben Affleck's Batman. I want at least give us the script for what that Batfleck movie was supposed to be, or just make it into a comic, put it into the world if you're not going to film it. I'm excited about James Gunn's DC run, especially because Creature Commandos looks fantastic. I don't know if you've seen the trailer.
Yeah,
for
I did see it. Yeah,
Creature Commandos looks so good, and the way that they were talking about it at New York Comic Con was it was a delight because people clearly have fun working with James Gunn.
Yeah,
and he has fun working with them.
I think he's a guy
that shows in that trailer.
Yeah, I think he can take oddball comic stuff and make it fun. Like a lot of people, I don't think that's an easy medium to translate over to the screen. And from what we've kind of seen, the stuff that he was able to make a talking tree fun.
He was able to make you cry over a talking tree and a talking raccoon from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
James Gunn is, I just thought of it. James Gunn is on a similar wavelength to Mike Flanagan, in my opinion, because Mike Flanagan is a big horror creator and James Gunn is a big comic creator. But the way that they take these genres that people would normally see as lesser, or maybe just, oh, it's totally more fun, you're not going to have an emotional reaction to this. But then you get to the episode in Fall of the House of Usher where Death is explaining to a young child why they have to die, and oh, but here's all the good stuff that's going to happen after you pass. And you're sitting there and it's like, I didn't know I was going to cry during this.
I was not prepared.
And then, again, James Gunn, like you look at The Suicide Squad, where so many people love what he did with Guardians, and we saw this with Borderlands. So many people love it to the point where they want to replicate it. They want to market their movies like that, if not make them like that outright. He took his Guardians approach, the killer needle drops, the motley crew that's a found family. He made it fresh again through the Suicide Squad. And I'm sure part of it was because it was an R-rated movie with no holds barred, but also he realized the world he was working in.
Yeah.
He knew the different characters he had. He casts his movies like a master picks their brush to paint the Mona Lisa. Like, he knows his lane and knows, okay, I can do better, and I can do this. I can do the unexpected. And that's, he and Mike Flanagan are two creators that I love for that.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend on the line with me as we chat about the world of movies. Mike, let's wrap up with kind of in the Batman universe, Penguin.
Oh, we need to talk about Penguin because, dear listeners, in case you didn't know, this weekend is the season finale of the Penguin. And dear listeners, in case you didn't already know, the Penguin rocks. And I have a really good story that links into this week's episode, but I want to hear your thoughts first.
I was a little like, you knew something horrible was going to happen with the flashback and the setup and stuff with his brothers.
Yeah, but the way that they pay that off the way that they used that was brilliant, because throughout the whole season we're hearing about his brothers, and we didn't know what happened to them.
Yeah.
We saw what happened to Jack and Benny, Oswald's brothers. And it's if the season finale, if this is being shown to us to hint at what might happen in the season finale, I'm kind of scared for some people, because he locked his brothers in that crumbling building as like
it was a sewage thing,
as like vengeance. He locked them into the sewer as vengeance on a day where Gotham has all this rainfall, And again, like someone losing their family because of a flood in Gotham. I didn't put that together until now. That's another thing that connects Oz and Vic.
Yeah.
The only thing is he was the one that did it. And then how does he escape when the bomb goes off in his lab? He jumps into the sewers.
The part that I don't believe they showed it, but did he like plan to kill them, or he just was locking them in there to show them, give them a lesson? Did he know it was going to kill them?
I think he just locked them in to show them a lesson and thought they'll be able to get out. Like they know their way around these things. We do this all the time. And then he realizes slowly but surely, it's like, oh, this is going to kill Ma. She is going to totally flip it. She knows I did this, so I'm not going to. And then it, in a sense, makes them closer in like a sick sort of way. And I wonder if they'll, first of all, I wonder if his mom's going to survive the season.
I hope
and
not.
I wonder if she's ever going to find out. Because anyway, because I would be very curious to see what that conversation would be like, where it's like, you didn't protect your brothers. How could you do that? I taught you better than that. You're different than that. And then he probably goes back to her with like, Ma, I protected you. You were the one I needed to protect. You're the one. Or so.
Yeah.
I don't know what he would exactly say, but it's just like it would come to blows with that. And then I don't think having Francis Cobb is the trump card that Sofia Gigante thinks it is, because when she begs her son, like, look, my mind's going. You see the first sign that I'm too far gone, you got to take me out. It's like she's an acceptable loss, unfortunately.
Yeah.
If Vic got taken out, that would be a different story. But even then, it's like, well, what's to stop him from not sacrificing his mother or sacrificing Vic to win here? And
again,
it's a very big question to ask.
We kind of got sucked into, cheering for him a little bit, but this is one of those weird things where it's like, this dude's a bad guy. He's a supervillain in this universe, and you have to remember that he's gonna do the shade, like it's not redeemable at some point. Yeah,
it's shady shit. And look, we met him in The Penguin, and it's like, oh, Oswald, he's so funny. It's like talking about bad Spanish translations and all that. And it's like, he's a dude, but you always have it in the back of your mind that it's like, this is the guy that eventually, like, depending on what version or what comic you read, like, I think there was one where he was involved in human trafficking of like kids when he's mayor of Gotham.
Yeah.
Like, the Penguin's not a good dude. And I think Lauren LaFranc and her writers and Matt Reeves as executive producer on the show, but also co-writer and director of the Batman films, I think they've done something brilliant with that, where it's again, the best example I could think of is First Class. The end of First Class, when Professor X gets shot and becomes paralyzed. You know that that's going to happen. You know that it's part of the backstory. The story wraps you up in different plot threads, and it gets you interested in the world so much that when it happens, it's like, wait, what? Oh, how did I forget that was supposed to happen?
Yeah.
It's like that's the best thing that prequels and spin-offs can ever achieve, is if you have a source material where there's this big thing that has to happen that is so crucial to the character, but you go back and you show them. But they show you the turn in such a way that it's still surprising.
You know,
and
what?
Like Transformers 1 is another one that did that right as well.
The way you're saying that, it makes me believe that the way this is going to wrap up is going to show why we want Batman to beat this guy to death.
Yeah, and I don't think he and Sophia are going to officially just be at each other's throats at that point, and we'll still have someone to root for, so to speak. But at the same time, Sophia is a horrible person.
Yeah.
She is a horrible person, but at the same time, you see what she's gone through. And the little nuances, like, I'm going to save my cousin, even though I'm going to kill her dad later.
Yeah.
Like, just, it's very strategic, and I like strategy in villains. It's not just, I'm just going to do this because I'm damaged and I'm bad. It's like, no, I have a plan, and I have a very exacting plan, and your part in it's already been decided, so you just need to play along. And again, Kristen Milioti is gangbusters in this show. I not only want to see more of Sofia Gigante, I think they should give her, like, if they're going to continue this, like, I not only want her in the Batman Part 2, I would love to see, like, a limited series focusing on her progression. And because we don't know if Penguin 2 is going to happen, because Colin Farrell has admitted himself, he's like, I did a lot of bitching and moaning on set about, he basically admitted doing bitching and moaning on the set, wearing the prosthetics, and he's like, maybe. Like,
it's
I wrote
be
it up on Cinemablend. There's a really good quote from him.
I mean, it's gotta be awful being in that thing. But no, I think so. The season finale is this weekend, correct?
Yes, the season finale is Sunday night, 9 p.m. on HBO. And one more thing I want to highlight this episode for is that wonderful scene between Kristen Milioti and Deidre O'Connell, who plays Frances Cobb. The Frances Sophia showdown, I guess you'd call it. Almost 5 minutes of just great intensity. And the funny thing I learned about that scene was it was partially through some interviews we'd conducted when the show premiered. I saw this thread that Deidre had put in the interview with our own Sean O'Connell. She had mentioned that that scene was originally scheduled for 2 weeks later in the schedule than when they shot it. But then they had to move it up because of weather and strikes and a whole bunch of things. So she had to, there is a story that she told that involves $300 basically making this moment possible.
Oh, really?
And I have it over at Cinemablend. It's a wild story that I got from her and from Kristen Milioti at New York Comic Con, where they just talked about how the last minute approach to that scene kind of helped when it went to just jumping into it.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend joins me every week on the show to talk about the world of movies and entertainment. We'll leave it there for this week. Mike, have yourself a great weekend.
You too. And before we go, I'm just going to say I too feel sorry about everybody that's dreading January because Mickey 17 got pushed to April.
All right.